Hello, everybody. So, I don't know what I've got going here. I have a solo layout. I don't know what that means, but I have other things that I'm trying to figure out here. Uh, we'll figure this out. Let's see. I got to figure out some other kind of layout. Once I figure this out, guys, and I apologize. Listen, I had somebody ask me or tell me the other day, like, your videos are not even professional. I said, oh, that's hilarious. Wow, they're free. They're for you guys to see for free. Like, I'm not charging you anything because, well, my time is valuable, like your time is valuable, and you don't want to give away your time. I don't want to give away my time. But my point about all of this is that, we should be like, oh, this is what I need. We should be, and I need to figure out how to add me to the screen so you guys can see me. There we go. I put this stuff out there so you can just have more information on what's going on, like how to learn more things about, what's happening, what is going on with the current situation with stuff. I just see that the website's not going to be posting. It's not going to be going live from the website. So you guys will have notification on YouTube, and that's it only. So anyway, today we're going to talk about something kind of interesting, and I don't think this has been discussed before. This has not been discussed before as long as I know I've ever heard about it. And before we continue with that, I'm going to make clear a couple of things. One of them is this.
The following program contains mature content and is the truth. No part herein is intended to be legal advice and is for entertainment purposes only. Audience discretion is advised.
Okay, so you guys have been advised. What we're doing in this particular discussion, in this particular chat, we're going to have, I'm going to talk to you guys about a couple of things that are really cool. One of them being that, well, something that people didn't know about, and I was exploring this with someone earlier, and well, it came to find out that my suspicions were exactly what was really happening. And let me just tell you. I'll tell you as it goes through, as we go through it. So, in the current era, the landscape of food manufacturing has drastically transformed with the advent of genetically modified organisms, or GMOs. Many of you guys and gals have heard of GMOs, and you know what GMOs are. You know very well about them. Like, some of you are very familiar with them. Some of you are not. But if you're not, they're genetically modified. In other words, somebody has gone in and done something to change the makeup of the original version of what it was. So the original, like, created version, like an orange or anything, is most of it's all genetically modified. Just to give you an example, like Brussels sprouts, genetically modified, broccoli, genetically modified, cauliflower, genetically modified. There's a lot of genetically modified foods. Anything that doesn't have seeds, genetically modified, because nature makes seeds so that it can continue growing more. So you can always tell. And then, nowadays they've got things that talk about, oh, well, we have not only genetically modified, but we also have, other things where we add stuff that is not natural into it. And there's a lot of things that are changing, literally changing makeup of the genetic makeup. So in the current landscape of the food manufacturing, it's drastically transformed with the advent of modified organisms, or GMOs. And these foods are designed to improve yield, resist pests. This is what's claimed, okay? So now Monsanto goes and they say, well, this is the only spray that will, Roundup is the only spray that will allow something to resist something, and, it's the only one. And therefore, we hold intellectual property rights over it. Well, they don't say that their tests and their own intellectual property rights, because it's part of private trust, are happen to show tests of cancer, maybe. I don't know. I'm just speculating. I'm just saying that this is one of the things that exist. So they hold intellectual property rights over the genetic compositions. Have you ever wondered about the broader implications of buying the foods? The reason I ask is at the same time, while we have these things in public that we think about, we also have what's going on in the background because of the public orders that were signed back in 1933. We also have other parallels that are going on at the same time, and we may not even realize what these parallels are because we don't know that these parallels exist right now. Many of you guys and gals just found out that you had incorrectly maybe made endorsement or supported a cause that you were not to be a part of. And that put you under a presumed jurisdiction that was military. And some of you, or many of you, know what I'm talking about. If you haven't ever had any, you've wondered what's going on, what's happening, why is this happening, why are things happening a certain way? And this is, I'm just here to tell you that that's why it's happening, because it is unusual. It's peculiar to what's happening because, well, we're under a different set of terms and conditions when there's emergencies going on. And what's been happened is in 1933, an emergency was declared, and there were little things that continued to make that a sustaining thing, or to have sustenance. And so that's where we are. So at the same time, the concept of military jurisdiction and its pervasive influence over civilian life, it raises profound questions to me about the intersection of individual actions and collective societal roles. So in what I'm going to discuss with you in this exploration, we'll call it, we're going to delve into whether the act of purchasing genetically modified foods can be considered participating in the public charitable trust under a presumed military jurisdiction. Okay? So, this segment I'm going to do is called Genetically Modified Foods, Public Charitable Trusts, and Military Jurisdiction. Of course, what everybody wants to talk about when you sit down at the table with your family, right? Let's talk about military jurisdiction and public charitable trust, because they all go hand in hand, right? Well, we'll find a little bit of a connection here. I'll show you guys a little bit of things. But I want you to know that this isn't just some made up thing. This is a real thing. And I'm going to show you where and how and why. Okay. So, the public charitable trusts are legal constructs, and they're established to manage and administer resources for the benefit of the public. And historically, these trusts have been instrumental in providing for education, healthcare, poverty alleviation, in other words, getting rid of poverty, and other communal benefits. The foundational principle of a public charitable trust is the commitment to the public good, transcending individual interests. So, in 1601, the statute of charitable uses was, well, you can look this up in Blackstone's commentaries on the laws of England. The statute of charitable uses was the legal framework for public charitable trust, and it can be traced back to the English common law, where charitable purposes were broadly defined to include the relief of poverty, the advancement of education, the advancement of religion, and other purposes beneficial to the community. Okay, that's literally the quote from the Statute of Charitable Uses in 1601. Now, these principles were further expounded by jurists such as Blackstone, who noted that charities are public benefits. Okay, and that's Commentaries on the Law of England, Book 3, Chapter 27, if you want to reference that. In the United States, here in the U.S., the concept evolved similarly, with courts recognizing importance of charitable trusts in promoting social welfare. Notable cases such as Vidal versus Gerard's Executors in 1844 emphasized the role of charitable trusts in supporting education and other public purposes. The courts have consistently upheld that the primary criterion for the charitable trust is the public benefit. Okay, so as long as there's a public benefit, then it is in the right place for what it needs to be. Okay, so modern charitable organizations and public institutions benefiting from trusts. That's what this is going to be on. So in contemporary times, public charitable trusts encompass a wide range of activities, from funding public institutions to supporting scientific research. So they would fund institutions that would, well, give kids an opportunity to learn other things, give them maybe hands-on experience, maybe lab work or things like that. It gave them an opportunity to deal with something. So there were other benefits that really did come of it. But what's happened is when these things are not specifically provided in okay, and I've given a lot of you will understand this. The baby getting dropped off with the at the hospital without instructions. Okay, you'll know what that means. If you understand what that means, then that's what's happening. And what happens is the private trusts become public because no one gives any instructions, because no one knows how to give instructions because you've never been taught this. And that's where people get stuck. So the underlying objective remains the same in a public charitable trust. Now, a public charitable trust is not going to be the same as a private. When you guys are private, you don't go and say, hey, we're going to have this trust for enhancement of the well-being of society. You don't do that private trust for that. A private trust is used for the enhancement of your private needs. That's what it is for. And it can't be abused for the public good. I mean, you can make certain concessions towards things, which is just, delegating accounting. But other than that, you have to know what you're doing. And the reason why there's many people that want to get to the end, they want to get to the finish line. And I understand, I completely do. But the problem with getting to the finish line, folks, is that you get to the finish line and then you don't know how to keep what you got. And I've said this over and over and over and over. And I don't know why people can't get that. They can't understand that. You can't, someone can teach you how to maybe drive a vehicle from point A to point B. But if you have to go off road and it's a 4-wheel drive, then that is additional. I mean, let's just say it's an older one. Okay, let's pretend it's an older one where you had to lock the hubs and everything. You had to get out and lock the hubs. Oh my goodness, imagine that, when we had to get out and lock the hubs. I imagine the day when they had to get out and, well, they never got out. Actually, they were already in whatever they were in, and that was in their shoes. They were walking, or their wagon. They got out of their wagon. So we've come a long way, folks. So in contemporary times, the public charitable trust encompasses a wide range of activities, from funding public institutions to scientific research. The objective was to keep the society at large and at relevant the context of food security and agricultural sustainability, areas where genetically modified foods play a significant role. Okay. The genetically modified foods, as far as an overview, we're going to talk about the scientific and economic principles in this as well. So genetically modified foods are produced from organisms that have had changes introduced to their DNA using genetic engineering techniques. And these modifications are intended to confer special benefits like increased yield, pest resistance, and enhanced nutritional content. The development and commercialization of GMOs are driven by large agricultural corporations that hold patents on these genetically engineered traits. Imagine that, genetically engineered traits. From scientific standpoint, GMOs offer a lot of advantages. And I mean, let's say scientific. What's scientific? Well, I would say philanthropic is Bill Gates. But everything he gives is based upon scientific evidence. So that would be the same category or the same type of thing. Philanthropy, charitable trusts, that's what these people specialize in. Okay. So they're engineered to withstand harsh environmental conditions, reduce reliance on chemical pesticides, and improve nutritional profiles, for instance. Now, I'm not sure what happened before all of this stuff came along. How did we ever make it, guys and gals? How did we ever make it before Monsanto came along? How did we ever make it? Like, oh my goodness, thank goodness. Um, I was thinking about this the other day, and you know, there's a lot of things that I have that are probably considered like extra, and they're a matter for convenience, and it's really not necessary to have it. Some of this stuff, um, but it does make things more convenient. And I think as long as we balance that, we're not just getting it to get it to have it, and we're balancing it to use it, then those things are okay. And the energy is being used for the proper reasons. It's when we begin to get things that we don't need that are just everything glitters, and everything glitters is in gold. When I tell you that, believe that. Um, Golden rice, genetically modified rice. Golden rice is a genetically modified rice variant, and it's been engineered to produce beta carotene, a precursor from vitamin A, aiming to combat vitamin A deficiency in developing countries. Now, that could be used as a thing, or it could be used as an excuse. Maybe there's other things that can be added into this too, and we don't know about it. I don't know. I'm just speculating. We'll see. Let's talk. Economically, the GMOs have significant implications. They can reduce production costs for farmers. They can increase agricultural productivity and contribute to food security. However, the patent of genetically modified seeds means the farmers have to purchase new seeds each season, leading to debates about the economic impact on small-scale farmers and the concentration of power within few large corporations. The so when you monopolize something and you say, okay, well, you start giving farmers money to not till their land, and believe me, there's a lot of places out there. There's a lot of people that are getting paid right now. I know one person that's getting paid to not do anything with their land, to just leave it. Just leave it right there and we'll give you a subsidy, because they could be farming on it, but they don't want what they're doing is they're trying to they're trying to balance out the costs overseas because they can buy it somewhere cheaper overseas. That's what it is. And then we become codependent on another price, and then it ruins everything for us as far as status quo. When something happens overseas, or something happens in a qualm or a squirm, or we just get into debate, or military or emergency, then it just creates a chaos. That's why they say, that's why you see a lot of people saying, I want to move out to a farm and live on my own. Well, if you do that, then you don't have to worry about any of that stuff, relying on, other places to give you what you want or need to live. And ideally, that would be where everyone would like to be. And we actually went from that into a technological age where everybody relies on technology. If technology goes away today, guys, there's a lot of people that are going to be screwed. I mean, you're not going to have anything to do. Like, what do you do when you don't have a phone to pick up? Have you guys tried taking your phone and just putting it away for a day? What do you do when you don't have that? I can do it. I have no problem doing it. Believe me, when it just stops, if this world we're in and the phone were to just turn off, I'd be like, oh, shucky darn. Actually, I would probably miss communicating with you guys and having the correspondence like these where I can talk to you about stuff. But the reality of it is I would not miss, like, oh my gosh, that would mean I'd have to go hiking or something, like get into nature and just go live in nature. Oh man, you're killing me. You're killing me, Smalls. Military jurisdiction in civilian life. Military jurisdiction refers to the legal authority of military institutions over certain activities and individuals, often extending to civilian life during times of national emergency or under special legislative frameworks. Historically, military jurisdiction has been involved in various contexts, from the enforcement of martial law to the administration of occupied territories. During times of war or national crisis, military authorities often assumed control over critical resources and infrastructure to ensure national security and public order. In modern times, the scope of military jurisdiction has expanded to include areas such as disaster response, public health emergencies, cybersecurity. For instance, the National Defense Authorization Act, NDAA, in the United States grants the military certain powers during emergencies, which can extend to the regulation of food supplies and other essential resources. You get it? They can extend to the regulation of food supplies. They can regulate stuff to create things during emergency powers or emergencies. Okay. So you guys, like, we just need to be aware of this, right? There's not anything to be alarmed about. Be aware. The intersection of GMO purchases and the public charitable trust. So now we've talked a little bit about both of those subjects. We're going to talk about where they come in together. To understand the purchase of genetically modified foods can be considered as participation in public charitable trust, we must examine the broader context of public benefit, the role of military jurisdiction, and the societal implications of such purchases. The primary criterion for public charitable trust is its contribution to the public good. Genetically modified foods designed to enhance food security, agricultural sustainability, and nutritional quality arguably serve significant public benefit. By improving crop yields and reducing the need for chemical inputs, GMOs can help address global food challenges and promote environmental sustainability. From this perspective, the purchase of genetically modified foods can be seen as supporting an industry that aims to provide public benefits. Consumers, through their purchasing decisions, contribute to the continued development and dissemination of these technologies, thereby participating in a larger public good. Where does military personnel and military jurisdiction and food security come in? Under presumed military jurisdiction, the regulation and promotion of genetically modified foods can be seen as a part of a broader strategy to ensure national security and public welfare. In scenarios where the military assumes control over food supplies, the adoption of GMOs could be a strategic decision to enhance food resilience and stability. In this context, the act of purchasing genetically modified foods aligns with the objectives of military jurisdiction, as it supports a critical component of national security. Consumers, by participating in the market for GMOs, indirectly contribute to the military's efforts to secure and stabilize food supplies. While the argument for public benefit is compelling, ethical and legal considerations must also be addressed. The corporate control over GMOs and the potential impacts on small-scale farmers raise questions about the equity and justice. Moreover, the long-term health and environmental effects of GMOs are still subject to scientific scrutiny. That nothing's been proven. It's all speculation. From a legal standpoint, the regulation of GMOs and the enforcement of patents involve complex intellectual property laws. The balance between promoting innovation and protecting public interests is a delicate one, requiring careful consideration by policymakers and the judiciary. Case studies in jurisprudence. Golden rice is genetically modified rice variety designed to produce beta-carotene, a precursor of vitamin A. It was developed to address vitamin A's deficiency, a significant public health issue in many developing countries. The project has received support from international organizations and governments recognizing the potential public health. Development and dissemination of golden rice can be seen as a form of public charitable trust, as it aims to provide a public benefit by improving nutritional outcomes. Consumers who purchase the and consume golden rice are participating in this larger public initiative, contributing to a public good. Okay, so we're going to talk about some precedents in the judiciary. Judicial precedents in the realm of public charitable trusts and military jurisdiction provide valuable insights into the legal and ethical considerations surrounding the purchase of genetically modified foods. Notable cases include Trustees of Dartmouth College versus Woodward in 1819 emphasized the importance of protecting charitable institutions and their public purposes. It underscored the role of courts in ensuring the trusts serve the public good. In Sierra Club versus Morton, 1972, although not directly related to GMOs, highlighted the importance of public interest in environmental protection. It demonstrated the court's willingness to consider broader societal impacts in their rulings. In Diamond versus Chakrabarty, Chakrabarty, was a landmark case in biotechnology, establishing that genetically modified organisms could be patented. It raised important questions about the balance between innovation, public benefit, and corporate control. These cases illustrate the complex interplay between the legal principles, both the public benefit and individual actions. They provide a framework for understanding how the purchase of genetically modified foods can be viewed within the context of public charitable trusts and military jurisdiction. So that is just an outline. So in conclusion of this, in the expansive exploration, we've delved into the intricate relationships between genetically modified foods, public charitable trusts, and military jurisdiction. The act of purchasing genetically modified foods within the context of presumed military jurisdiction can indeed be seen as further participation in the public charitable trust. This is predicated on the notion that such purchases contribute to a broader public good, aligning with the objectives of food security and national welfare. Remember, it's the contribution part where you're participating in something. If you don't stipulate what you're not participating in, you waive that right and you agree to or you consent to a lesser thing. Okay, the balance between innovation, corporate control, and public interest remains critical in both, well, for the policymakers, the judiciary, and the society at large. As we manage or as we navigate the complexities of modern food systems and societal implications, it's crucial that we see the interconnectedness of individual actions and collective benefits when you guys are participating in some certain thing. Now, remember, this is the distinguishment, okay? You have a choice right over here. You have broccoli, you have, let's say, I don't know, what do you like on your salad? Green leaf lettuce, broccoli, I don't know, I'm just making some things up. Maybe you don't like broccoli. Green leaf lettuce, tomatoes, onions, let's just say those three things, basic. Maybe somebody's going, ugh, disgusting, I don't even want that. But okay, just pretend you put whatever your replacement is. And you have those particular ingredients that are whatever it is that fit, that you can put together. Like you can go and say, okay, you know what? I want to go. You can go as raw as you want. Like you can say, I got it from the store, which could be grown somewhere else. And like, that's not really going to be a participatory thing. But say you go and you buy a salad that's already made, a genetically modified salad that's already made. Well, you waive one thing and you consent to another. So if that in their eyes is considered a military thing, then you just join the military by your actions. I'm not saying you literally signed up for the military. I'm saying your actions are implying, and remember, guys and gals, this is nothing more than implying. That they're implying things and then we don't know what to respond to or how to respond. So when someone implies something and you don't respond properly, well, it becomes a presumption of something else. And that's where we get hung up on stuff. So we're trying to rebut any presumptions that anything is a certain way other than the way it should be. And that is, we're protected under our private rights. So the purchase of the foods through a seemingly private act reverberates through the fabric of public charitable trusts and the jurisdiction under military, shaping the future for food security and public welfare. Hopefully, it will be with awareness so that people can control it. All of this stuff that I talk about, it's all good as long as it's all controlled. It's not, it should never be anything that we're alarmed about. It's just like, hey, slow and steady wins the race. You just got to begin learning what happened to you and creating your own scenario so that, well, it's beneficial to your interests in the future. So may our musings inspire thoughtful reflection and informed action in the quest of a more sustainable world. Seriously, like, let's just make this a better place to be. And yeah, I appreciate you guys like joining us for this, discussion on genetically modified foods and how they fit into the scenario of public charitable trusts. And well, I guess like they always say, and this is just a thing that says, if you enjoyed this video, give it a thumbs up and share with your friends. And don't forget to subscribe to more fascinating content. Just kidding. No, I'm not kidding, but I don't know. That's what it was. So I wanted to talk about just a couple of other things. I want to talk about, people making, when you guys, some of the stuff that I'm showing you guys, when I tell you, I'm not trying to be exclusive to anybody. I'm serious. And I know that when I see people want to go do other things, I think, well, that's awesome. I love that they want to go do other things, but I wish they would think it out before they go and do other things, because they don't really know. They don't realize sometimes what they're giving up until after it's gone. And I always wish people well, and I'm in this general sense I'm speaking, and I want people to have, their whatever their salvation is, their redemption. Like, seriously, I want you guys to all have it. But I know, as a man who myself was condemned as something that I wasn't for a long time, and it's really like somebody keeps you down that long, you either come back up and you survive, or you don't. You either are done or you survive. And I'm not a quitter. I'm just not. It's never been in my blood. And I'm not a negative person by nature. Some of that stuff was just imposed on me as if it was the only way to be. Many people are learning that you have another lane that exists that's really an honest lane. And as long as you make honest decisions with people that are also think like you, that are honorable, you're going to have what's called a meeting of the minds. And there's nothing wrong with what's wrong. There's nothing wrong with what's wrong. There's nothing wrong with people, and there's nothing wrong with our country, and there's nothing wrong with anything except our perception. Our perception of what money is skewed, it is distorted, and it is incorrect. It's improper. It's wrong. Straight up, it's wrong. It's not even close to being right. Okay. And everything that we do is a speculation. We speculate. Oh, no, this is this because of this. We don't know. We have no proof. Some of us might have some proof, and there is some proof out there. But I'm telling you guys that the instructions that people give other people to go and do things that are going to be faster. And I want you to know, I'm not in a race with anyone. I'm not. I'm seriously not. I know that everything's going to be just perfect because there's no mistakes in the creator that I come from. And the faith of the mustard seed that we talk about often in this program, and I often speak of it myself, is I don't know what the hell's around the corner. Let's just talk real, okay? Here's the deal. Okay, the faith of the mustard seed is this. There's some bullshit coming up, okay? It's right around the corner. It could be right around the corner. It could not be right around the corner. The test is, what are you going to think about? Is that all you're going to think about? Is that next thing that's going to, devastatingly kill you, like the three things that happened before to you that were bad, that killed you, are going to kill you again? And I wonder if that's where they got the 9 lives thing. I mean, the etymology of that. Seriously, you think about this, folks. Like, nothing kills us, and yet we die every time. Like, oh no, I just nearly died. That almost killed me. I can't go through that again. Well, you know what? Guess what? If that shit happens again, you're going through it again, whether you like it or not. And you're going to bounce back from that, and you're going to make it from that. The only things that kill us, I'm going to tell you right now, chemotherapy kills us. Okay? Chemotherapy kills us. I know because I watched my mother die. I took her to her death sessions. I was her right-hand person that sat through all this because I didn't know any better. And you know what she told me? I should have known something from this. Like, how did I not know this? She is sitting there on this bed, and this wasn't just a situation where, like, my mom just went in for a few sessions, okay? They had so many issues with her health because they had knocked her health down to nothing, that they had to keep a PICC line in her arm. A PICC line. Do you guys know what a PICC line is? A PICC line is where they leave the IV, the connection in your arm. It's literally connected as a needle right here, and they just tape it to your arm so they can just plug up. So it's like literally you got a connection on your arm all the time. They can just connect these two things, and now they're connected right to you. And then they just start loading you full of whatever they want to fill you with. And my mother used to sit next to the bed, and she would tell me that she could taste the metal. She could taste the metal. She said, I could taste it on my tongue. And I remember things as a child when I, like, you touch things, and like she would tell me it's like when you touch a 9-volt battery to your tongue. That's what it kind of feels like. And I knew what that metal taste was, but this is what the metal stuff will really do bad damage to the body. So even if, for example, the stuff were to kill off some stuff, the damage, the permanent, and well, I don't want to say permanent, but the damage, the interim damage that's done is done. I mean, it does what it does, and many times it just kills the whole entire body. It winds it down to nothing. I've seen it. I'm not speaking from, like, I'm not a scientist, but I'm telling you damn well that I lived in the same house of my mother who died of cancer, and I watched her die over 2 years. And we were told that she had 2 years, and we had some really miraculous, things that came of that. But my mother never created anything. She never created a will. She never created anything like that. She always told me to go out and be an attorney. And like, I just, ugh. Sorry if any of you guys are attorneys. I don't mean to offend you, but you should really take some of my classes. You can learn to have some ethics, and, well, not statutory ethics. We're talking about real ethics, like where you're honorable, where you follow, like, instead of changing commandments, you follow them. You see, that's the kind I'm talking about. Instead of appealing a thing that is natural, you go with it. Because we agree with an adversary quickly, right? Matthew 5:25. Wow, guys, gals, look at that. The point of all I'm saying is that we have a lot of choices that we just let go by default to something because we don't know these choices exist. If you had an option and I've mentioned this before, but I'm going to say it again. I'm going to say it one more time. I don't know if I think it was. I'm going to actually say this. I don't know if I can say. Well, I guess I can say anything I want, right? Until they take it off. But so the restaurant named Hooters, we used to go there a lot, and that's actually the place that I remember that. I just thought of that right now, that the wings were like naked wings, but they had a different, like their wings, you call them naked and something else. I have to contact my friend and find out what he said. But if you go to Hooters, and you can order, like everybody's going to go do this right now, right? Go to Hooters and order these. They're like naked something. I don't remember exactly what it is, but I was like, okay, those are way different than the wings that you would normally order. So what I'm getting at is that there is a menu, and then there's something on the side menu. It's like they don't put it on the menu, but they can make it for you. And those things are equity. That's equity. That's what equity is. Sometimes it's not something that's on the menu. It's something that you create on the menu. And that's what equity is. It teaches, it's teaching you guys to do for yourself what otherwise has been a choice that you've never had. And when you learn that, you just start making it, you don't ask people if you have the choice, you just start making it. And you're like, whoa, no one said anything and I had the choice. That's what really equity is. It's knowing that something exists. It's knowing that, and it's not getting wings on a Hooter menu either. I'm just giving that as an analogy example so that you guys can further see that there are things that are out there that you're not paying attention to because you've been trained and programmed to turn them off. And you've been like hyper focused on one thing. Look over here, do this, go to work, focus on this. While you're there, it exhausts you. That's why they call it a week end, right? A week end, because you're weak at the end of the week, the work week, right? So you work week. You guys get it? There's a whole bunch of wordplay that's going on with that. And, it's just all of it is intended to have you complacent with something that is not normal, but they've normalized it. There's no way that what's happened is a whole bunch of land was entrusted in a lot of men as trustees. And when other people wanted to join and be a part of that, well, let's go back. The people that passed the debt on, okay, because the whole Constitution was a debt. It was a debt. That's what a constitutor. Look up constitutor in 1889. Anderson's Law Dictionary, 1889. Go look up constitutor, and you'll see one who passes a debt to another. So that's a man that was a constitutor who created a constitution, which was the whole debt passed on to a whole group of people who chose to participate in that, and they could willingly, except most of them didn't know they could willingly because they didn't know there was another food choice on the menu. And so they just chose what was right there. They're like, yeah, I'll take the military style eggs, and I'll take the, emergency power hash browns, and I will take the, the sanctity of, how about, can I get how about the, that looks really good. Ooh, yes. The lockdown jalapeno poppers. Let's get those. I want those too. So it's all just a facade, guys. I've mentioned this before, but I want to say it, and I'm not encouraging any sort of people to be upset, anyone to be violent, or anyone to do anything. I just want you to think about something. I want you to think about this. I want you to think about what if your parents were born in the wilderness? And then you were born in the wilderness too. So you're wilderness baby. All right? And like, what's the rules in the wilderness? Because I'm telling you right now that Denver, Colorado isn't going to call up like a different area in Eagle, Colorado and say, hey, you guys on the top of the mountain, are you listening right now? Because we're getting together for a meeting. And did you want to participate? It's not like that. It is a presumption that, hey, the ones that want to be here in this way, and I say in this way, the ones that want to be here in the capacity of like a membership, or the ones that want to be here in the capacity of like, well, maybe a party. It can be disguised as anything. Like, hey guys, if you want to come over, come over. We're having a 501c3 party and you can be a member too. And you guys go and sign up. You're like, hey, I'm going to bring my donation, my charitable donation. Now you're participating. You become a part of that. Well, what is a 501c3? Who's it owned by? Well, it's issued by the government, right? So who's it owned by? It tells you right there. And so you're giving in to be a member of something. And so you have to just be aware of it. I'm not telling you to go and undo these things. I'm not saying go break up with anybody. And, I'm not saying to go and, get upset about anything. I'm saying that there are certain things that exist and certain ways, and you have to learn what they are. And once you do, then, well, it's just a matter of handling those things the way that they need to be handled. So once we do that, then, well, there's nothing more to it. So that is what exists on that note. Now, when it comes to many of these things, a lot of this includes people being equitable. And equity is having clean hands. You can't go and, you can't, I'm telling you guys, like, you can't make deals that are bad with people. And then when people are upset about them, you can't not handle them. Okay. If you're going to do that, and this is what I do, I just tell people, look, you know what I've got here, I've made it like the best possible thing that I can. And I'm telling you, I know because I've been the other places that don't produce. I've been other places that don't produce. And I've never had more people that have had more changes the way that they wanted them to be than what I'm doing right now. And I've done a lot, believe me, guys. I'm going to show you guys. I'll do a segment. I don't know if I'll do it tomorrow or even this week, but I need to do a segment on the Albany remanding over that with you guys, because you guys need to see where I come from. Many of you guys don't know where like my roots are and where I've learned much of this stuff. David Merrill was my mentor. David Merrill has a website, and I don't talk to David anymore, but I still like wish him well. I still wish him and Michael Joseph well. They have a website at lawfulmoneytrust.com where they teach lawful money trust and redemption. But there is, a lot of different methods and things going around, and people believing different things are going to work. Now, I'm going to tell you guys, like I want to tell you guys, because I'm going to be doing this too, what I've got coming up, and this is kind of exciting stuff. I've got coming up we're going to be having a class that's going to be limited to probably 200 people. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. I'm going to be teaching this class at no charge. Okay. You have to be subscribed to this channel in order to be able to get onto the class. And it's going to be, again, it's going to be free. I'm going to give you guys my time. Like, seriously, like people say, well, you don't give your time. I'm going to give you my time. I'm going to take time out of my day, and I'm going to teach you something that is going to save you 30% of your income. 30%. Just by creating a document that that changes things if you agree with this change. It's up to you, but you got to know first. That's all it is. I'm going to give you an educational seminar so you can learn whether you fit into a category that is the way it is, or whether you fit into a different category. And I think most of you will find that, you erroneously didn't mean to sign up to like give stuff away. And I mean, give stuff away. I mean, under some of the stuff you're not reserving when you don't know it exists, you're gifting away under Title 26 of the Internal Revenue Code. So we have to know what Title 26 is, and we have to know, like, how are we gifting stuff? And, there's no money, so it's all accounting, but we have to know what this stuff is. If we don't know what it is, then how do we fix it? How do you even approach something if you don't even know how to talk about it? And I'm telling you, guys and gals, when you learn to talk this, and that's why you have to learn it, because it's a language. It's not a paper. You don't pick up a piece of paper and say, well, I stand on my paper. No, your paper, it's actually who you were before it became paper. And so that's what you have to know, but you have to know what that is, because you can get only given one choice in everything, one single choice. And so now, you're like, well, give me that. I already know it. Well, no, you don't know it. You don't know it because you're referring to you knowing the one choice you had, not the other stuff on the menu. You see, that's where I'm showing people what their options are. This is based upon, you guys can spend, I'll tell you, I started this journey in 2006, all right? I've researched law off and on. A couple of years I probably took off between that because I just was so burnt out. It's so exhausting. I ended up like, I studied so much of this stuff for so long, guys and gals. I'll have to share with you too. Remind me and I'll share with you. I have there's actually a lawsuit in the Southern District of Iowa. The case number is 14-0478. It is myself when I was incarcerated for something I admitted I have a problem, or had a problem. I don't have the same problem anymore. At that time, I was really like lost. I was like literally lost. The only thing that I ever wanted in my life was my son, and that was kind of taken away from me. The same way that many of you guys and gals have had your kids taken away from you. And I know what that's like. And sometimes I've done equity and I didn't even know I was doing it. I have one situation. The very first girl, you guys might have heard this before, but I helped somebody, and she's still around. I don't know. She kind of made a mistake, so she hasn't shown around. But my friend's name is Maggie, and Maggie came to me, and I've told you guys this story before, but I've never told it on YouTube. But she came to me and asked me, she was a wreck, like really bad. She had a Instagram video that was just like her crying the whole time of her kids gone, and like, it was just like I couldn't even watch it. I used to be able to watch stuff like that, guys. I can't do it. When you guys send me that stuff, I'm like, I can't watch this. That stuff just makes me so negative. I can't even watch like stuff, people getting hurt. I don't like that. It's all just negative. That stuff, when you realize and feel that vibe, it's not good. And I want to stay away from that. But there's a lot of things that, that you guys will see. You'll begin to see when you spend time in this bubble that I've made. And it's not my bubble. It's a bubble that I consider just like I'm passing information on that held me from being and making choices that I had. And as soon as I understood that I had choices, it was over, man. It was like, whoa, I have choices now. Really, I have righteous choices. And it's based upon this, and I know where the choices come from. And so what I did was I created something that, I'm tired of being oppressed myself, and I'm tired of watching other people be oppressed. So I help people. I help people to fix these situations that they've gotten into under the presumption that they are not who they are being presumed to be. And they become the surety for a stranger, like scripture says. And, I can help people only so far. And when people realize, or not realize, when people feel like you have acquired the same we're at the same level, then people go their own way. And it's just the perception of that. Because I'm telling you, I've been doing this a long time. And I've seen a lot of people come into it and go into it and then go right out into something else because they couldn't stay in the frequency. They can't stay in this frequency. And I can, because it's steady, but it's slow and steady. It's slow and steady. It just doesn't move fast at all. It's like the tortoise in the race. It is. Or those of you that watch Frog and Toad, it is. It's literally like it doesn't move fast. It just moves in the right direction all the time. It's consistent. Because righteousness doesn't have, righteousness never says, underlay, underlay. It doesn't say that. Righteousness says righteousness will happen as long as it takes to be righteous. That's what righteousness is. It's real simple. It's not rocket science, but we perceive, because we've been told that there's only one thing on the menu. There's a whole menu, guys. There's a whole menu there for you guys to look at and select from as soon as you are willing to accept that it exists outside of what the single things you've been told, the one option you've been told. I was thinking about this today, and I don't know, this is kind of a dumb thought, but I'm not going to feed my dog food anymore. I'm going to go and find actually a good menu that's diverse, because dogs in the wild, my dog would not go down to the dog food manufacturer and say, hey, can you give me a refill? Or he would not go hunt for the same manufacturer every time. Maybe he would. I don't know. I like the same kind of ice cream. But my dog is going to go hunt whatever he can eat and whatever sounds good. And if he's got a choice, he's going to have what he wants. And it usually would be something meaty, not something I would give him. So I'm going to choose to give him something that's diverse. I'm not saying that I'm going to go to feeding him meat and let him go after the neighbor's dogs or animals or anything like that. But I want to give him choices of food, not just go eat that dry scum over there that you eat every single day. I wouldn't want to have plain oatmeal every day. And I'm sure he doesn't want that either. Even though they are more basic, I still have more respect than that, which is why I started giving him some of the food that I eat, because I think that people that eat together stay together. With that, I send you guys much love, and I yield.